Welcome to Lead Poison.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Lead Poison podcast brought to you by youcanpaint.com.au. Please head to youcanpaint.com.au for issue 1 of their how-to series, How to Paint Your House and Save Thousands. My name is Jack, your host. Today on the show we have a young man by the name of Lukas Kasper. Lukas Kasper is an artist from Melbourne, Victoria, and he is a shining example, I think, of someone that's really giving a life in art and creativity a good old Aussie crack, and it's really impressive to see someone that is so young and enthusiastic really go for a life that can have its challenges. And I appreciate him coming on the show, and I hope you enjoy it as well. So without further ado, please welcome Lukas Kasper. We're sitting here with Lukas Kasper, an artist out of Melbourne, Victoria, but he has moved around a little bit as well. Lukas, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, cheers, man. Thanks for having me.
First of all, bro, what happened to the long hair? Cut it off.
Damn, you noticed that, eh?
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, man. I cut it all off. I never thought I was going to cut it all off, but one day randomly I was in my my studio and I was talking shit to my studio owner Doyle at our Blender, and a random thought came through my mind of like, I was thinking about getting a haircut. He said, well, why don't you call this place? So I sort of felt a bit of pressure, called them, and then they said, yeah, come in today. We have an opening. And I was just like, oh, shit. And I just cut the whole thing off. So it used to go down to my ass. Now it doesn't even hit my shoulders. So, yeah, it's a lot different, man. I've had long hair for ages.
Are you growing it back?
A little. I mean, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I've been doing everything with it recently because I've had long hair for ages, man. So I've just been shaving it bald, clipping it up, doing this, doing that, because I can actually, I don't know, have fun with it. Try something different.
Getting creative.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Put some colors in it.
That's it.
All right, man. Well, look, I know you're probably, if you're anything like me, you're probably kind of sick of hearing about COVID-19 and everything, but one of the things that really interests me that I want to sort of explore in this podcast is how it's affecting artists and painters. So has the pandemic had much of an effect? Obviously it's had, obvious effects on your life, but in terms of your art and work and things like that, how's it affected what you've been doing?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting with my process. It's actually, to be honest, man, this lockdown and this COVID shit is the best thing that ever happened to me. Like I've been incredibly lucky because not only, I think honestly the biggest benefit of it is I've always been a type of guy that would be sort of freaked out about where the money's coming from and staying on my feet and having that side of my life sort of taken care of. But when COVID happened, I lost my job. I worked at an art shop at that point, and I'd always been doing that for forever. No matter where I went, like I'd be in Vancouver painting for the city council, doing some crazy big project, and at the same time I'd be working at like the art shop, getting paid fucking $11 an hour. I've always been the type of guy that I'm just always scared that something's going to happen. The rug's going to be pulled from under me. I'm not going to have that commission, this, that, or whatever. But with the lockdown, I lost everything else. So it was straight to the studio for me, and I had to just figure it out. So I've always had like a lot of momentum and a lot of motivation. I think if anything, that's been, the thing that's sort of picked me up and made me write as an artist this whole time is how heavily obsessed with this I am. And when I could focus all of that energy without it being anywhere else straight onto my art, it benefited me so well. And, I went into lockdown, and then within weeks, I was just painting commissions full time, mostly skateboards and surfboards out of my studio. One surfboard, but a lot of skateboards, different commissions, this and that. And it was just off to the races, man. And I think, to be honest, man, a big thing for me too is seeing the world consistently revolve around you as an artist when you have nothing to do. Like, if I wake up, I don't have a commission, I don't have something I want to do to my website, I don't have this, I don't have that. And it's just, you sit there and you go, okay, well, what do I do? And you look around you and the world's still revolving, everyone's working hard, the laborers are out and everybody's kicking. Sometimes I look, it makes me look at myself and think like, man, what am I doing? How am I going to figure this out? And I sort of have this like anxious feeling about me. But in lockdown, all of that was alleviated because I knew for that temporary period of time, everybody had to sit on their ass and wait. So I saw that as just like, it was just an amazing opportunity to basically work on borrowed time the whole time. I thought every day I was in my studio making videos and painting. I just felt like I was 1 week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, 3 weeks ahead, and I just kept the momentum. And I've been a full-time artist since lockdown. So that was like the launching pad for the future of my career. So for me, man, it's been amazing. For a lot of other people, it's been shit.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's I guess it's kind of a blessing in disguise for a lot of people, but that's really good to hear that you're making the most of it, man. For me, it's sort of been the same in terms of my hobbies and things like that. I mean, obviously, I'm a house painter by trade,
Yeah.
but this time that we've had out of work is sort of the same as you, giving me some time to reflect and think about what I want to do and what types of things that I want to explore that maybe I didn't have a chance to and didn't have time to. So tell me about your space in Melbourne. So you've had access to the studio even through the pandemic?
Yeah, well, I was in the 5Ks to get to my studio, so it was all good. And for a little period there, I was living in a share house, and I was just working from like the communal space down the bottom. That all went to shit, as you can imagine. Share houses in lockdown, shit got real quick. So I'm on my own now with my girlfriend anyway here in like a nice single bedroom apartment. But the studio space is just down the road, an easy bike ride down there, and there's basically no one in sight other than mostly Doyle sort of kicks it around there, a few other artists. But been a nice safe space, and I've been able to work out of there for the majority of this like lockdown.
So is it a warehouse? Does it have several studio spaces within it that you
Yeah,
rent, and you rent one of them?
yep, yeah, that's it. So big warehouse, place is called Blender Studios. It's been around in Melbourne for quite a while and pretty well known mostly for its like street art type of roots and backgrounds. And it's it's a pretty cool place, man. There's probably about like 20 artists in there, and it's all open scheme. So there's no doors on the studio spaces themselves. That's sort of that's sort of why they called it why he's always called it Blender, is because it's a big blend of different artists. Yeah, and ever since I've been there too, that was also a big stepping stone in my like artistic practice, because it's one thing to paint something in your studio at home and look at it in the corner and have your own perspective, but when there's say 19 other people that walk past your studio and see it, it's it makes you want to paint some like all good shit, better, and
Raises the bar a little bit.
yeah, man, big time, big time. And
Mm.
that definitely made me raise my bar and be heavily influenced by like the amazing artists around Melbourne, as well as so many killers in there. And the studio space has just been awesome.
Yeah, for sure, man. So in terms of Melbourne, is the art scene pretty active there? I've visited there once. I lived there for a couple of months, just sort of floating around. But is the art scene there? I know it's quite active, but is it something that drew you to Melbourne? Is that why you moved there?
Yeah, that's the one and only reason, man. Like, I did quite a bit of traveling, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about that in a bit. But I after all my adventures and everything, I found myself back where I grew up, and that was in Queensland. And I just came off of a high, off of the traveling and painting and riding around on scooters and doing crazy shit and just having an absolute blast. And then I found myself back where I grew up in this little town called Caboolture. If you're from Queensland, those like that's the forbidden word. Caboolture's not known for its prestigious this and that. It's sort of a bit of a rough environment, and I mean, when it comes to artistic opportunity, good luck. There's a few things kicking around. The gallery there, just when I popped back, was sort of bouncing a little bit, and they were sort of picking some stuff up. But Cabo is Cabo, mate.
In Cabo.
Yeah, Cabo.
I've
So
been there. I've been there once. I've got a friend of mine who's from there as well, and yeah, it's a semi-rural sort of town, isn't it?
yeah, big time, man. 4510 for life. It's
4510.
yeah, it's basically in the middle of the sunny coast and the city. So it's an hour sort of each way, maybe like 40 to the sunny coast. But in the middle of nowhere. I mean, as an artist, there's nothing there. So I basically came back to Queensland, spent a little while with my parents, seeing my family, and getting back to all that type of shit, and then bounced straight over to Melbourne. Melbourne was always a place that I felt incredibly comfortable since I just was traveling and visiting this space. I'd come every now and then for a bit of a paint, a bit of a skate with my mates. We'd always do skate trips, and every time I stopped in, man, the weather, the coldness, the laneways, everything was just for a kid coming from Caboolture with nothing around me and nothing but bad statements towards what I'm doing anyway. Seeing a space like that was just amazing, and I always knew I was going to come here.
Yeah, true. So how long have you been there?
About like 2.5 years now, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's a great place, man. I mean, even when I visited, it's just lends itself to creativity, and there's so many, not just art, but food, and every space is occupied by creative people. I find so it's must be a really good place to sort of expand yourself being an artist.
Yeah, and just motivationally, like when I was coming up painting and just writing graffiti and shit, it was just I was sort of influenced by who was around me. This is just before I don't know, I wasn't much of a kid for social media and all that type of stuff, so I was just little graffiti shit with a bunch of influence of like people around me. So they were just local crews and local writers and stuff. So my expectations on what I could produce were pretty low. And then, with my travels and with the expansion of my perspective and everything, I came to realize like how much opportunity, like how many amazing artists are out there for one. It's insane, man. Like Bali is like the most beautiful place for amazing spray painting artists and stuff, and crazy.
Really?
Yeah, man, crazy motivated kids. They kill it over in Indonesia, and
As in locals or
yeah,
people?
locals,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. So I guess when it comes to influences, man, Melbourne's just been like incredibly motivational. It's just been awesome.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So you grew up doing graffiti, or is that how you first got into art?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I never drew. I never like really was interested in that side of things. I got into graffiti when I was probably like about like 15-ish. Before that, I was just skating with my mates and shit. And I originally sort of found that interest in graffiti just through going to different skate spots. And I used to shoot a lot of film back then. That was when Big W used to produce film back in the day, and they used to. It was either Big W or Kmart. I think it was Big W, but anyway, one of those big companies used to produce film. So I couldn't afford like a digital camera, so I used to go around to different sort of flea markets and pick up some film cameras. And when you process film through those bigger places, it was actually like incredibly affordable.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, these days it's different, man. You got to go to camera shops, and each roll's like $1 a shot or something. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's expensive now, isn't it?
Yeah, but back then, I found myself cameras. Just started shooting with like a lot of skateboarding, but then graffiti. I just found my eye went in that direction. I became really interested in it, and from there was just the natural progression of you tag in your book, you tag in the toilets, you start doing throwies, and then you go to track sides and all this, and it was progressionary thing. But that's where my interest came from. I never drew a thing before that, other than maybe a Dragon Ball Z character here and there.
Yeah, right. That's interesting to know, because your lifelike spray paint is really quite impressive. Is that something you worked on in recent years?
Yeah. The realism stuff's been pretty recent for me. It's been like something I've definitely delved into over like the past 7 months, because I've just been on a contract full-time painting murals for Wodonga City Council. And when I got there, man, that's a pretty rural town. It's right on the border of Victoria and New South Wales, and it was pretty nerve-wracking to drop in there, because a lot of my stuff is pretty weird and wacky. I paint a lot of monsters, vibrant black outlines, a lot of like expressionistic stuff. But when I dropped my boots on the ground there, I knew I had 6 months of walls to paint. And if I was to just go up and just paint whatever the hell I wanted, some monster that meant this and that to me and all this type of stuff, I just know that there was no shadow of a doubt in my mind that the local community would be like, what is this? Why? What does it have to do with us? So, I dropped into a pretty commercial type of job, but with a very sort of artistic mindset. And it was a balance of trying to combine the two together to, please the community, because that's why I'm there, man. Like I'm there to paint murals for them, to make them smile and to have them interact with their local community. But at the same time, a lot of my work is a lot of shit that people wouldn't necessarily understand. So I was meshing those two together, and that really, really forced me to paint these animals and interact with the space and get a lot of inspiration from the local environment.
Yeah, man. I think you did a really good job at combining those two different worlds. So you obviously put a lot of thought into that before you went out to Wodonga.
Yeah, well, I mean, I tried not to think about it before I left, but once I got there, like it's crazy, man. It was such a weird occupation because for the first month, I just rocked up into the council spaces and just sat in a desk. I had a full council setup, like I was just about to take phone calls for the day or something, and I did paperwork and sketches and designs, and I guess the gnarliest thing about the whole thing is when I first got there, they had a list of walls that they wanted painted, and instead of doing one design, paint one wall, one design, paint one wall, they said, "Here's 6 walls that we know we want. Now we want to design for each one of them." So before I could even sort of really, really get amongst like the local environment, I had to design 6 complete murals, have them be completely unique, and to be I guess reasonably influenced by where I was.
Yeah, interesting. So that was in Wodonga that you were doing those designs?
Yeah, Wodonga. Yeah.
And so you didn't do them prior. So for the start of the 6 months, you were in Wodonga just doing designs and organizing, talking to the council and everything like that.
Yeah. I had to move my whole life up there. So my girlfriend stayed back here in Melbourne. This apartment that I'm doing this out of right now is where I came from. So my whole half of my life stayed here, and the other half being just me went there, just me and my paint. And so I had to find a place. I had to figure out everything. It was 3.5 hours away to Wodonga. So getting back and forth and visiting and trying to take opportunities back in Melbourne on weekends and stuff became a big push. But yeah, so it was gnarly, man. My whole life, my whole everything moved over there. And, like when I rocked up to that first wall, it was like, okay, let's see how people react from this. Cause I'm not just painting one commission, then I'm out and nobody ever sees me again. Like the people in the community, so many of them would tap me on the shoulder on the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and they'd just be walking by and seeing the next one going up. So I established a pretty decent like relationship with a lot of like the locals there. And there was crazy people, cool people, assholes, this and that.
Really? Did you get a bit of backlash?
No, I mean, the only thing that starts it, man, is sometimes for perspective, I use a doodle grid. So for anybody who doesn't know what that is, you basically scribble all over the wall and then use your phone to project over the design for perspective.
Yep.
If you don't know what that is, search it up because it's an amazing it's an amazing thing to use as an artist if you're struggling with perspective. But yeah, so when I'm scribbling up all that stuff, you just write letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, write my girlfriend's name, some artist friends, tag Kasper, whatever. And, you have a few people that scoff at you. And that's the question you get throughout the whole process is always like, what's with the lettering? Did you paint over that graffiti? Or, oh, I like the design, but that graffiti's gross. And, the general perspective. So that was like the bad input that I got. Other than that, actually, I had this one dude. He messaged me on Facebook, and he said to me that he's been seeing my work everywhere, and he's like, "What's with the eyes? What's with the eyes?" And then he DM me whenever I drop a new mural. He DM me, and one of them was pretty wild and wacky, and made me click on his page. He messaged me saying, at the skate park that I painted, he said, there's 20, like something like there's 27 eyes here. Why isn't there 28? 27 represents this and that. And then I clicked on his page and there was like anarchist symbols and all this crazy shit. And I was just like, I just straight up blocked that dude. I was like, man.
So you without knowing, you had entered your artwork into some sort of realm with some secret numerology or something.
Yeah, whatever realm he entered it in. Yeah, I had to stay away from that dude. So I was like, I just blocked that guy. And I mean, if anything, his messages were like reasonably entertaining for me, at least like mixed it up. But I was like, this could get probably like dangerous pretty quick.
Yeah, totally, man. 100%.
Yeah.
So tell me how that came about. I mean, how did you end up working for 6 months for Wodonga City Council, painting 10 murals?
So it was basically just an application process. So this is another one of those like reaping the benefits of COVID is, it was a part of the Working with Victoria Fund, which was a fund that was created basically for towns to reactivate spaces. So in that council and in many councils around the place, they created different occupations. So there was a cool new guy on the team. He was a part of the filming team. His name was Ollie. He filmed a lot of it with for the council side of things, and there were people in accounting. So they just created positions to basically get little places back up on their feet. And Wodonga was wacky enough to pop up a position of a full-time mural artist. So I basically just applied. It was a few of my friends sent it through to me. Like it was one of those opportunities where it seemed so big and like such a big move that I was, my friend had sent it to me. I'd look at it and I'd be like, oh man, but then I'm going to have to do this and that. And this is, it's just too much. And then one of my good friends, Manda Lane, she's an amazing paste up and black and white, like floral artist. And she messaged me again and said, hey, this is an opportunity. And I was like, man, this is the third time I've seen this pop up. Like I should just try this and go for it. I applied and got a call back, did the interview thing, tried to sound as appealing as I could, all that shit. And the next thing I knew, I was moving my life over in January.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool, man. So how much input did they have in the creative process in terms of your designs?
Every one of my designs had to go through a process of approval. So it would go up the board and they'd make a change. They'd make changes as they wish, but there really wasn't many changes, man. To be honest, when I went into the contract, I considered the possibility of them not necessarily understanding my work. And I feel like within the interview process, with how much I've done previously with similar type of projects, I thought that they may be sort of holding me to that. Like maybe through the interview, they might have been like, oh, this dude can talk the talk, he's walked the walk. But I didn't necessarily know how much of my work they were really, really into and wanting. I don't know whether that's just due to self-confidence or what it was. But when I got there, I was expecting to possibly be painting a bunch of murals that really didn't look like my work. But I was really lucky, man. I got there, I designed the 6, and out of that 6 of the first run, I had 0 changes. It was all approved. Everything's all good. Everything's all sweet. And from there, out of the 10 murals that I did, I only ever had one revision, and it was basically just I painted a rosella on this cafe wall, and I had originally it was blue on the top, yellow on the bottom, and then I just changed it over. So yeah, yellow and blue, flipped it, and that was it. Out of 6 months, that's the only revision the council had, and I count myself lucky for that, because I mean, if there's any mural artists or something listening to this, I'm sure they realize how many revisions usually need to happen, and the stupidity of the little changes that tend to happen throughout it.
I can imagine it's pretty frustrating.
Yeah,
for sure, man. Were they all exterior works? I've seen most of them, I think. Were they all exterior?
Yeah, all exterior. So that was a part of the project, is they had to be like publicly accessed walls.
Right, of course.
Yeah. So majority of them were council owned, but then we got to a point. So when I first got there, as a part of my contract, it didn't say in the contract that they wanted 6 murals, but when I got there, they basically said, look, we got 6 months and we want 6 murals. Do you think you can do it? And they were looking at me like sort of timid in a way of like, man, we don't want to push you. And I was just thinking in my mind, 6 is nothing. Like one mural a month. Like, are you kidding me? But then, as the process went through and I came to realize how much paperwork and how much is on the other end of things, it ended up balancing out, but at the same time, when I went down to some of these murals, I really, really took my time because I could, I knew I was going to be there the next month and the month after. So when I was painting these animals, instead of spending, say, 5 hours on an animal, I'd spend 2 days. So that's definitely shown through, and that's definitely something I hear from a lot of people since I've came back to Melbourne, which, I mean, I came straight back into lockdown, so I haven't been able to see many people, but a lot of people have been very complimentary of the animals, and I've come to realize how I should really, really take more time with these finer details.
Yeah, man, those animals are amazing. They're really, really well done.
Yeah, cheers, dude.
What kind of, in terms of materials for that particular job? Now, before I go on, was there 10 or 6 murals?
So there was 10. They wanted 6 originally. God, sorry. I'll probably just with my talking, I'll probably just go off into.
No, it's fine.
realms.
It's good. It's perfect. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I thought I had got it wrong. So it turned out to be 10, even though the original brief was 6.
Yeah, the brief was 6, but then basically I got to 6 murals in 3 months, and so I had another 3 months to go. So just to wrap up how that project happened, I did 6 murals in 3 months, and then I was actually going away to paint a water tower with John Murray, and halfway through my contract. So when I signed it, I did a revision of a 1 month break to go paint a water tower, and then I come back and do another 3 months. So we had 6 done, 5.5, and then I came back, finished the skate park. That was the half, and then finished enough to count up to 10 to finish the whole project.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
And what about in terms of materials for that job? How did you go about organizing, getting your spray paint and everything? Were you just, did you have to supply everything yourself, or what was the go with that? Because I assume there's nowhere to get spray paint in Wodonga.
Yeah, nowhere to find it, and that was a big pressure, because when you're painting a new mural and it takes 4, 5, 6 days to get to you, if you want like another color or you run out, you're up shit's creek, so to speak. So yeah, so I was ordering all my paint from 567 King, and yeah, they were hooking up. They were pretty good because online their color charts and stuff are always up to date, and they're really good with communication. So shipping out was great. It only took like maybe 4 or 5 days or something.
Yep.
That's how I got all my sprays, all my spray product. But for roller paint and everything, I just go to Bunnings. Just
Yeah, totally.
General equipment. Some things I bought online, like it was really great, because I had a lot of funding for the materials themselves. So it wasn't out of my pocket. I made sure to be smart with what I was buying, but I could splurge on little things like a Graco airless spray gun. I think I heard John say something in the previous podcast about one of those.
Yeah, I think he's got one. I've got one as well. I've never actually used them for artistic purposes. I've just used them for painting houses, but they're really handy. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, you know the gist. I mean, I mostly just use mine for priming and stuff as well. So, yeah, they're amazing for like textured brick walls and stuff. And yeah, so I've got different materials from different places, but the graffiti, like the spray paints, I used all Montana 94s, and they were from 567.
Okay, yeah, big shout out to Mick over at 567 from Newtown. That's a great shop. They got plenty of suppliers and everything like that.
Yeah, man.
That's really cool, man. So you just mentioned that you painted with John Murray. For anyone that hasn't heard of John Murray, for sure check him out at johnmurrayart.com.au. He was on a previous episode. How did you meet John? I'm very interested to know, and tell me a little bit about the project that you took the month break for.
Yeah. So I mean, first of all, shout out to John. This dude, like, he is honestly like he's a living legend. And
100%.
I didn't even realize the scope of how awesome this guy was until actually, to be honest, man, as soon as I met him, I knew he was such a great dude. I originally met him at my studio in Blender. So he was strolling by one day, and being the awesome guy he was going from studio to studio and basically just picking up pieces of artwork from everybody.
Really?
Yeah, man. He gives, like, honestly, man.
Wow.
It's unbelievable how giving this guy is, and And he goes around. Yeah, he went around and he, buying artworks from everyone. And he just basically rocked up to my studio. We had a chat. From then, he said he wanted to paint walls. He wanted to get up. So I was like, sweet, fucking, you hit the right guy up for that. I'm definitely super keen. And from then, I forget how we linked up our first paint, but we went down to Lovelands Lane, which is down the road from my studio, and we did a link up there. We did a link up in the laneway right next to AC/DC Lane. I think it's called Duckboard Place. But we just started painting all over the place. So, and I mean, if there's one way to get to know someone, it's by painting next to them. And we never went in with any preconceived design, like of how it should look. So we just float between each other, chuck some music on, and just enjoy the painting. So I really, really got to know John over painting. And I think the biggest trip for me with him is I met him in Melbourne when he was just another dude. So he walked in my studio, and plenty of people walk through Blender because they run street art tours, so a lot of people come through. So in the first instance, I didn't even really know who John was too much, but then linked it up with his emus and everything.
He's a real advocate for artists. I think he's such a supporter. I mean, just that walking through studios and buying art is just such a good example of his sort of ethos. Like when I spoke to him, it was just so clear that he supported artists in any way that he could. And I just think that's so important in the artistic world, especially when I can imagine, I would assume, and obviously I'm not experiencing it as much as you would, but just becoming an artist and trying to make that your life must be really difficult. And he is just a shining example of someone that sort of gave everything up and decided to become an artist a long time ago and just put all his chips in. And we spoke about that on our podcast, and it's really an inspiring story. So you're exactly right. So how many walls did you do with him?
We've painted 3 walls together, like link ups, and 1 water tower now. So I mean, we've got a decent little collection going on, I guess.
Yeah, man. I saw one of the laneways you did with him, and the blending of styles between his sort of semi-traditional style and your psychedelic, vibrant stuff was really cool to see. But he seems to have picked up street art in a sense very quickly.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's the thing too. He didn't come in with the mindset of he came in to like take care of it, learn about it, and do it properly. So, he rocked up and he linked up with local artists. That was, a big motivation for him, is to learn the grassroots of what it's all about, and to and his mindset too. I mean, he was getting up around Fitzroy and mostly like Melbourne area more than a lot of other people, and this dude was using like brushes and all this like traditional styles, and like you'd see photos of him and he'd be up on bins and climbing shit and stuff and getting stuff up high, and and these were laneways that it's not a guaranteed thing that you're not going to get caught up, but I mean, you have a better chance in Melbourne to get let off than in other places, but at the same time, it wasn't guaranteed, and he learned that from a lot of us. Like, actually, one of the laneways we were painting, cops rolled up, so they pulled up in the outside of the lane, and I've been caught up twice with cops, and 3 times, including just being let off one day. But when the cops rolled up, I was like, fuck this, I'm out. As soon as they rolled up, I just grabbed all my paint. They pulled it in the front of the laneway, and I was just being way too cautious with it because John was like, look, man, you roll out. I look like I'm supposed to be here. I'm this older fella with paintbrushes, blah, blah, blah. So I should be all sweet. So I just grabbed my sprays and just sort of walked off. Came back, but the cops weren't even checking out us painting. They were just parking in that laneway, and they randomly just had the lights on. So I was just immediately sketchy as shit. I mean, especially coming from Queensland and stuff, I'm like, screw this, I'm out. But John, man, like John, he just didn't give a shit. He stood his ground. He was like, nah, he's going to finish the piece and everything. And I came back and we finished it up. But yeah, he's man, I can't speak fondly enough for him. This could be the Casper Praises John podcast.
Yeah, I totally understand why, man. After speaking to him for an hour or so and a couple of times on the phone, he's such a gentleman, and he's got so much knowledge to pass down. So it's good to see him getting involved in different aspects of the artistic culture, and it's really inspiring to see someone sort of reinvent themselves, and just the enthusiasm from someone that's been doing it for 30, 40 years. And I think a lot of young guys could learn off having that enthusiasm, even though they're 30 years younger. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, I mean, I've learned so much just knowing him and just hanging out with him. And I mean, what I was trying to say before is, in my studio when he walked by, he was just another random guy. But when I went to go paint that water tower with him, I first went to Lightning Ridge. So that's where he's from, and that's where he's got his studio and murals up all around town. He runs that place when it comes to the art. He wouldn't put it that way, but that's John Murray town. Like, if that's the way I see it, everybody knows him. But what was wild, man, is we walked the streets and nobody would really know John all too much. But when I went to Lightning Ridge, we would walk down the street. We couldn't even walk down the street or do anything without John. Signatures, selfies, photographs, this, that.
Really?
This, that. Yeah, man, dude.
Wow.
I painted this mural that he linked me up with. He mentioned it in that podcast too. And I was about to paint this eyeball. All I had was sprays, and I wanted to get a brush on it. So I asked John. I was like, "Can you come down? Can you just chuck a eyeball on this Maggie? I want to see what it looked like." And the eyeball took him legit like 2 hours to do, when he could have painted it in like 3 minutes, because he's also so generous with his time. Like, somebody will stop him in front of the studio and he'll be running to go pack like an order out the back, and he'll give that person like an hour conversation. I'm like, how do you have the time, man? Like, what are you doing? Yeah, he's so generous.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. It's no surprise to hear you say those types of things about him. So let's talk about the silo that you did with him. I'm really interested about that. I had a look at it. It's amazing. You've painted was it just you and John?
It was me, John Murray, Brian Smith, and Bob Barrett. So Brian Smith was the local Aboriginal artist that John Murray linked up with, and he got to really tell the history of the place through his artwork down the bottom. So I was mostly just like the backup guy, man. The whole process went basically, we got there, we had to prime the whole thing white before we started with anything else. So, this water tower was gigantic, man. Huge. I mean,
it is massive.
Yeah, most of the water towers are, but this was a thickie, dude. It went fucking around for days. And yeah, so we had to prime the whole thing first, and then paint the whole background down, and then from there we put all the foreground. So basically, the way it worked is John operated the machine. I sprayed to prime and to chuck the colors down. Occasionally, John would jump back in if he wanted to chuck a little brush stroke here and there and do some blends. And then from there, I went down to the ground and I helped Brian Smith with perspective. So I gridded up a lot of the stuff for him, because he mostly just paints canvas and small pieces of paper, not too many things that are as huge as a water tower. So he needed a hand on, just to help out to where to begin. So just gridded everything up, and then painted with him all the designs in, and landed my advice here and there, conceptually of what should go where, but just let him roll with it wherever he could. He was the artist. He was the man. I was just the guy there, enjoying the process and helping out where I could.
Totally, man. So how did John approach you for that? Was that, did he just hit you up over the phone one day, say, do you want to come? It's in Burke, isn't it?
Yeah, Burke. Yeah. He gave me a call one day. I was skating the IMAX theater here, like the pretty good, like nice little skate spot. And I got a call on my phone. John, ring, picked it up, and he just said, "Yeah, man, I got a water tower here, and I'm thinking you'd be perfect to come and paint it with me." So I hung up that phone pretty hyped up. I was fucking fuming. I was so keen. A water tower. I mean, to have one of those under your belt is awesome. Not only to, say that you've done one, but also to learn the things that you learn while you're up there. All mural artists that have painted those things will tell you that there's a lot of things that you face that you don't expect to face at a project of that size. So it's it was just an awesome project, man. It was so good.
What kind of things do present challenges? I imagine the scale itself would be pretty hard to deal with, being that
Yeah.
you can't really just step back and have a look at your work. You're so close and it's so big. What other types of things? Is the wind an issue?
Yeah, wind, and then just like I mean, things like paint, like how much paint you need. Like when you're looking at that thing, like just let's say for the undercoat, like we had to prime that thing white. So but John dealt with all that shit. Thank God. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin. But when you're looking at a tower of that size, you're like, do we need 7 buckets? Do we need 12 buckets? And then this and that, and then when you get there, you know that you have like 5 left over, and you're like, oh shit, we actually don't need that much. And then things like wind, when you're up there and you're shaking around like feeling like you're about to take a dive out of the bucket, it's that's its own thing. To be honest, man, I was freaking out up there.
Well, yeah, it's pretty high, man. It's pretty high.
I'm not too bad with heights, but like, I mean, John will be the first one to tell you that I was holding onto that fucking bar like I was about to fall out of it the whole time. But yeah, you get used to it as you go and shit. But yeah, the wind, like where the wind is it going to fly around and spray all the paint back up in your eyes, and there's no point in using it. Just everything, machinery, how to get it there, how to get it out, what's the ground like, all this shit. There's so much that goes into it. It's I give so much props to all these crazy mural artists that are out there killing it, like Drapple and Zookeeper and Hisco and all those fellas, because they're smashing them out like crazy. And I mean, their artworks they're beautiful. So
yeah, man, it's mind-boggling how they managed to do those silos so well. It's like I just don't even understand it. How long were you there for?
We were there for a month. So
okay.
Well, it actually ended up being about 3 weeks. So we originally planned for a month, but we got it done early. And we did 7 days a week, full days. So whatever, we rock up there first thing, and then about say 5 p.m. or something, we'd cruise out. I'd go to the local skate park and I'd skate there like most arbos. So
John mentioned that you were skating there, and he also mentioned that you said it's a pretty good skate park. I have heard good things about it as well. Is it pretty good?
Yeah, man. Yeah, the park in Berks. Yeah, it's sweet, man. Like there's this one little part of it where it's got a bank to a spine and then a quarter. So the good thing with that is, like, I mean, I don't even have to push. Like skating ledges, you push in, you ollie up, a lot of energy and everything after a big day's painting a tower. So that shit would just kill me, just landing, eating shit all the time. But I could literally drop into the quarter pipe, do whatever over the spine, hit the bank, back to the spine, back to the quarter pipe, back to the spine. It was just, so I just skated that little mini section every day and learned a bunch of shitty random tricks on the spine, because it's like a 1.5 foot or 2 foot little mellow thing to roll over.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So that gave me a bit of creativity in the arbos, and all the kids there, they hadn't really seen skateboards or skateboarding all that much. It was, all the kids just have scooters. So there were multiple times, man, where I'd sit down and there'd just be a group of like 30 kids that would just swarm me in a circle. And it's weird that they like, one kid would be like the leader and he'd be like asking me questions. And then all the other kids would be standing back and they were just like in awe, just looking like, whoa, like that you can do that with a skateboard. They look so surprised.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, so hopefully they pick up a board, man. I mean, they all seem pretty interested in it. So
yeah, 100%. I have noted there is a lot of scooters floating around. I'm trying to get my kids into skateboarding. They got scooters as well. They seem to be so popular at the moment, but skateboarding's the way to go. I used to skate when I was younger as well, so.
Oh, sick. Yeah,
keep it alive. Yeah.
Get them onto the skateboards, man. That's what's up.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah. The problem is they look around, they see everyone on scooters and they think I want to do that, but so you got to get in there, give them a little bit of influence. Yeah, but so was that, and I don't know how much you were across the situation behind the silo, sorry, but was that like a council project, something that John had worked in with the council there as well? Or was that like a private thing that he organized?
Yeah, so that was like a council project. It was basically to tell the story of a man named Percy Hobson. So he was like the first Aboriginal man to win a gold medal in the Olympics in high jump.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was from Burke, so that was the importance of the story. And that's a big reason why John took the job, is because he saw a narrative that he thought was, special and needed to be told. And so he jumped straight in. So it was a project to tell his story, and then it all came together. You had him jumping over the high jump. That was his like winning jump, the photograph that was painted up onto the piece, done in like John style. And then with Brian Smith down the bottom painting in the traditional like rock art styles and everything as well. It just came together so well. And
one of the beautiful work.
And one of the most awesome things about it, man, was the community engagement that came from it. Because John had the idea to slap everybody's hands with paint and to have them go up and chuck a handprint on the bottom of the piece.
Yep.
And man, we had I think it was like, I don't know, 7 schools or 5 schools or 8, whatever, and they all came down, and it was intimidating, man, because it was just John and I at a table with a bunch of paint and a bunch of brushes. And there was a lineup of say 200 students just going nuts in the line, pushing each other and having fun and causing a bit of ruckus. It was a good kids, bad kids, all these different schools coming together too, which doesn't happen too often in like such a small part of the part of the world or whatever. But we're painting all their hands, and then they were slapping each other with paint. And it was the day was manic. Hey, at one point I just went into like the shipping container where we stored the paint, just sat down for a second. I was like, okay, just took a breath,
regroup.
It took like 30 minutes. I was like, chill out, man. It's been a full-on day. Yeah,
totally, man. It must be nice to have those sort of different experiences with art, like your laneways and then having something like a silo and dealing with school children, which you probably didn't expect. To add that sort of those feathers to your bow, I feel like it might sort of increase your potential as an artist. Do you find that it's good to explore all these different avenues?
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, I'm keen to do anything. And that's a big thing. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing with me as an artist, but I will do anything. And I've learned so much of, even if I did something stupid and I learned that that's what I shouldn't do, then I've learned it. I mean, feathers in the hat, that type of thing, you learn, you have your experience, and every experience is good. Even if it's shit, at least you can tell that story a few years down the line, and it'll make you a better person.
That's a really good perspective to have, man. You don't want to sort of paint yourself into a corner, so to speak, in terms of what you're willing to do and not do. So just looking at your bio, man, you've done a little bit of traveling with art too. Excuse me. You mentioned before that you've been to Bali, but also you've been, I'm just looking here, Thailand, Canada, Seattle, Las Vegas, LA, and Alaska as well, and obviously around Australia. Tell me a little bit about your trip to Vancouver. You mentioned it earlier on in the episode. You were doing something with the council there as well?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I might as well start from the jump, because all those travels all happened in one little chunk.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So that was sort of a trip around the world, so to speak.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Vancouver was probably 3/4 of the way into the adventure. So
okay.
Where it all started, basically, I was in Queensland. I was back in the day, I used to host exhibitions around the place. So I started up in Queensland just when it came to exhibitioning and trying to create a name for myself in that way. I'd skate around the city. I'd ask everywhere, do you hang artwork? And would ask all over. And then I started curating in a few spaces and started painting murals and doing all that type of stuff. And I found like I reached like my benchmark in Queensland, and I didn't have really anywhere else to go. I just finished a diploma of graphic design too. So I wanted to adapt my work into like a digital platform and to know how to do that. So I finished up all that, and I was like, okay, well, what's next? I'm just going to pack all my shit up, go to Bali. And as soon as I land there, I want to figure out where to get paint, how to get paint. And I'm just going to start this mission on painting every single day and figuring it out. So yeah, I got to Bali, and I brought I used to travel so sketchy. I brought like these fucking like liter bottles of like acrylic white, acrylic black. And I literally I was about to bomb the airport. I swear to God.
You take them on the plane?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Stupid.
Stupid. Oh my God.
Yeah. The least amount of clothes I needed, because I knew I could buy everything for cheap over there. So I was like, I might not be able to find paint for a while. So I just came in thinking, okay, I'll bring whatever I can.
Wow.
Obviously not spray paint. Otherwise they'd nick you for that. But
yeah, it might explode halfway through.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But I had them open my bag up and pull out like these bottles of like this thick liquid they were like, what is this? But but yeah, went to Bali, man. That was the first stop I went in, and I didn't realize it was this like 1 month trip was going to turn into about like 2 years. But the most amazing things happened in Bali, and I was so happy I went, and that was such a big period of my life, not only as an individual but as an artist. And basically, I hit the ground. I painted a mural that afternoon as soon as I landed at the villa that I was staying at on this like sketchy wall. And then from that, every single day, I'd go out. I'd try to find spots. I'd try to talk to locals. I'd try to figure it out. And all I wanted to do was paint every single day, chuck stuff up around the streets, try to stay out of trouble as much as I can. And I guess the biggest story out of Bali was I needed paint one day, and I saw that there was this place online called Chata Odata, spelled Cataodata, so Chata Odata.
Mm-hmm.
And they had spray paint for sale. So I was like, cool, I go check this place out. I went there, and it was this like 4-story art house that had an exhibition space. It had this like it had this in the kitchen. You drop like a latch door, and then you can climb down a ladder that overhung like this string net thing over the studio. And there was like a river in the back. It was just like
Wow,
the most amazing place. And when I went there to ask for spray paint, they basically said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm here to paint. This is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah." And they said, "Why don't we sort out an artist residency?" So I went from being there and thinking that I was going to come back to Queensland in a little bit to knowing that we can do an artist residency, but the visas there run out pretty quick. So I had to leave the country. So my girlfriend and we went to Thailand, and that was just to basically kick it over there for a little bit, just so I can come back and do this residency.
mm-hmm.
And then when we came back, that residency was 30 murals. So I did 20 independent and 10 with local artists. And then we had a big exhibition. Shout out to All Caps for supporting that and sponsoring that project. They gave me a lot of the Pylock, which is like the local spray paint there. Man, those locals can paint better with Pylock than anybody can with 94s or
Really?
whatever loops or anything. Yeah, dude. They're
Wow.
fucking wizards. Yeah. Shout out to Neds. Shout out to all those boys. They're such amazing artists, and I got to link up with 10 of them. Some of them, couldn't speak English too well, and I couldn't speak a lick of their language, that's for sure. So I tried a little bit. I got a few words, thank you, hi, all that stuff. But yeah, hit the ground running, and those dudes over there were amazing, man, because they wake up, they'd all kick it in one space, hang out in a circle, sit on right on the ground, sit on the ground, have some coffee, and draw. And then it was a mission to this space, a mission to that space. And I think what was really great is my mindset really meshed well with theirs. Like they just wanted to get up, they just wanted to paint, and it wasn't about tomorrow, it was about today.
Yep.
So that was really great. And the residency was awesome. We had this huge party and exhibition. It was like bumping at that space. And I stayed there during my stay. So stayed in Chata Odata in one of their rooms. And yeah, went from in that time in Bali too, like I did the same thing, hit the ground running, wanting to paint, and met this dude named Aman Inspiration is his like art name. He was a tattoo spray artist dude, and he had this whole building like that he was renting out for his tattooing, and he was like, you can do anything on this. So we like climbed out the windows and did rooftops and
Really?
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, in the fucking scorching sun, with only singlets. I was such an idiot, man. I never had like proper hats. I never had proper clothes. I was always just like torn up in like whatever the local gear was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Just
yeah,
getting burnt.
yeah, dude, like red as, man. I came back from those travels like tanned up, looking
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. You should have
Yeah.
known. Your name is Casper. You'd be red as a lobster after painting out in the sun,
man,
there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that lead into sort of going over towards the States and Canada?
Yeah, so my residency finished up in Bali, and my girlfriend had family over in Canada. So they had family in a place called Ladner in Vancouver, BC. And we just thought, we could go over there and we'd at least have like a home to hit ground in and to chill out for a bit and let's see what happens next and everything. And it was a really tough part in my life over there because a lot of my work, centers around a lot of mental health stuff, and it was a big. I had struggles when I first went there, man, because like I came off being in Bali, being in Thailand, where I'm with all these loose, crazy motherfuckers that want to drink arak, which is like the local like rice wine over there all day, and paint and ride scooters and all that type of shit. And then I found myself in Vancouver in the snow with no idea what to do, where to go, where I was getting my money, how I was going to get my next place. Nobody knew who I was. So I couldn't find jobs. I was just another kid, just starting off from scratch. So I came off a high and came straight into that. And I found myself just transitioning to painting a lot in the house, in the studio, because we lived, an hour and a half out of the city, and I didn't know where to paint to not get snatched up. I did a few things here and there, but I wasn't going crazy at this point. I really wanted my time there to span out for a while, and I didn't want to get caught up with the cops and all that dumb shit. So I rocked up there and I did a lot of studio work, and the way that Vancouver progressed is the same way that I was talking about other things. Like I'll do anything, and so what I did is I had a whole bunch of work, like on canvas, on whatever I could find, pieces of paper, this and that. And then one day when I went into the city, I was doing the same thing. I was skating around. It was a bit fun over there because, weed's legal and everything. So,
okay. Yeah.
So I just pick up a joint from the local like cannabis shop. It's like whatever, $3 for a joint. And I just smoke that, skate around and try to talk to different people, see if I can get my art in different places. And I hung a lot of exhibitions there, but the biggest thing that ever happened to me is, and this will come to show you that like you should just always do something, no matter, just always put yourself out there. And what I did is I was painting, I was busking. So I realized out the front of Vancouver Art Gallery, they have a street where you can busk there without a license, and it's just all free.
Yeah. Okay.
So on my weekends, because I worked at a bottle shop then, I was bottling fucking miserably with this crew that it just did not understand me. They really didn't like me.
Yeah, right.
But on the weekends I'd go down there and I was busking. I put a bunch of shit out in front of me. Most people walk by me and think I'm just some homeless kid. But one day I had this lady named Jill who worked for the North Vancouver Council approach me. Because what I used to do is I used to not only busk, but I'd create like temporary glad wrap walls. I don't know if you've...
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, with the big sheets and you wrap them around a tree or something like that. Yeah,
so I'd wrap trees, wrap poles or whatever, and like spray and chuck my paintings behind me. And, by the end of the day, I'd make either $15 or I'd make $350.
Cool. Nice.
It was whatever. And, I met different people. It was wild. Like I saw... for the first time, Vancouver's a pretty big city and that's right in the middle of town. So I'd see all these like crazy A-list fucking actors and comedians and stuff walk by while I'm sitting there on the curb, like some kid like people don't even want to make eye contact with me because I just look like some crazy homeless dude. But yeah, I got approached one day and this lady Jill was basically like, I work for Vancouver, like the North Vancouver. Do you want to hear what opportunity, blah, blah, blah. I had no idea what she was talking about and never expected to hear from her again. But she said, she actually hit me up, sent me an email. I went to North Vancouver and they signed me up onto this huge project called Studio in the City, where they transformed this 2-story house in North Vancouver into a school for about, I think it was six or 8 weeks. And I taught a group of young kids how to paint murals, how to quote, how to get perspective, all of those things. And then at the end of it, we painted the biggest public art piece in North Vancouver, where we went up one building and then through the flooring of the whole laneway and then all the way up the other side. And
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, man. And all that progressed from being that shit kid on the corner having too many paintings that I just couldn't stand being around anymore. And I was like, I got to get these out there. And how am I going to do it? And I just went out there and something amazing came from something shit. So
that's a really good lesson, man. It's probably something that you remember and you apply now that you're back home in Australia for sure, eh?
Yeah, and even if it didn't go well, man, that'd probably be a story that I'd be talking about now. Think about every now and then, like, remember that time I was fucking busking and everybody was walking by me and I was miserable and everything. Because I've made bad decisions like that didn't. I've made bad decisions that didn't end up well. Like when I went to LA, I'd started doing like a few sort of American tours. I'd go to Seattle and Vegas and stuff while I was in Canada because it was so close. And I guess I was a bit of an idiot, man. I was trying to find the cheapest place I could in LA to go there and paint for 2 weeks. Same idea. Didn't know anyone or anything. And I saw a place that was like a 40-minute bus ride from like LA Central. So I was like, sweet, it's cheap, it's easy. And when I was getting dropped off there by the Uber dude from the airport, he was looking at me and he was saying like, do you know, like, are you sure this is the address? Are you sure you're in the right place? Do you know where you're at? And I was like, yeah, same address, everything. And what I came to realize is I actually booked a place in Compton, right amongst like it was bumping, man. It was bumping. I walked up to this place, and there was like barbed wire on the front fence, like full picket, black, and then the windows barred up, everything. And we went upstairs, and this dude rocks up at the front, and he's got like no t-shirt on. He's on his phone, chatting to his homie, and he's just like talking shit with his homie, and he's literally guiding me in just with his hand, like waving me into the room. He's just like pointing, like, you're in there. I closed the door, and I'm like, what the fuck have I done, man? Like, I came here to paint, and now I got to like hustle and figure out all this shit. So I stayed with this. There was this ex-army dude that slept on the couch, and he was into heroin, and he used to sit at the front of the house and look out the window and like he had like a sniper, and he just hold his hands out and like look out the window, and he was sort of.
Red flags. These sound like red flags to me.
yeah. But to be honest, man, these guys were actually really, really fucking cool. Such nice people. I mean, and not to say that anybody in that environment wouldn't be. It's just I went there to paint, and I just did. I expected to be I didn't expect to rock up in Compton. Put it that way.
Totally, man. No, I understand. I mean, there's obviously people thriving there as well, but to come from where you come from and land yourself in Compton is that's a tricky situation, I can imagine.
Yeah. So they showed me like, they were like, he's like, there was a park over the road, and he was like, yeah, man, like if you want to like, keep safe or whatever, like over there, you can ask for whatever his name is. And he's got like tasers and shit. Like he'll hook you up. And so what I do every day is, cause people would sort of yell out. It was like the type of place where, all the fellas are out the front on the steps, just like hanging out and watching everybody go by, just kicking it, doing their thing. And I was some white boy with long, pretty blonde hair, and I looked like I could be taken advantage of easy, man.
Totally.
And everybody's hustling, doing their thing. So I mean, no blame, no shade on that at all. So I just used to chuck my hoodie on over my head and just walk down the road with my hands in my pockets, just like a fucking crazy person. Jump on the bus and everything, and just did my own thing, stayed safe, and it ended up being awesome. The guy I stayed with actually was cool with me painting in his house. So
that's good.
Yeah, so I just painted like all over the inside of this dude's house too.
Oh, on the actual house?
Yeah, like inside, like
right.
on the walls and everything. And they had this
cool
little pit bull that used to hang out while I was painting and shit. Just over the road, there was like the average like American type of like convenience store where you got like the glass and your hand can go under and all the crazy shit behind the table and stuff. Like America's wild, but they had spray cans there for like $2.50 or something. So
beautiful.
Yes, I was grabbing those, painting in the house, and that's I guess what the whole spiel about all this is basically I ended up in an environment at first glance I thought I might have put myself in a uncomfortable situation, But then as the time went by, I have this fucking awesome time in my life I can think about, which would outshine any point that seems so amazing and special and everything went well. Like I'll always think to those sketchy shit times, or the spots where I thought it was going to be like that, and see them as way more memorable than otherwise.
Totally, man. And that's something that John mentioned to me about you, is that you're really driven and you're really, giving it a good go to try and make something of your art. I think sometimes, people can get lazy, and do you think it's important to sort of stay disciplined and creative at the same time to get yourself in the position where you might meet someone from council because you've decided to sell your artwork on the street for no apparent reason, and then something comes out of it? Is that a discipline thing for you? Do you force yourself every day to work at your craft?
No, I mean, and that's a hard thing. Like when it comes to art and what I find important, I think one of the biggest things is motivation. But motivation isn't necessarily a choice for me. It's more of a necessity, and it's the reason why I've 100% the reason why I've gotten where I've gotten. Like technically speaking, I've gotten to the point, and I've been at the point where I'm very, very happy with my work. But for a long period of time, my work was shit, man, and it just was. Um, to be completely honest. And the motivation side of things has been completely derived from mental health struggles. Like if I'm not doing something, I don't feel good. So I always need to be doing something, always, always. And I always need to have three things in my head and to be working on all of them at once and figuring it all out. And like if I'm thinking about what I'm doing tomorrow, like for example, if I just thought I'm having a day off, I would feel bad right now thinking about not doing something. That this is a problem that I need to address on a bigger picture, and I have in different points in my life. But whether it be a bad thing or a good thing, I tell you what, man, it has taken me around the world, and it has shown me a life that I would never ever have experienced otherwise.
Yeah, totally, man.
So yeah, motivation super important. The one thing that sucks is I don't think it's something you can teach someone.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is one of those things that it's hard to explain to someone, other than yourself, those internal struggles that lead you to doing art and lead you to pushing yourself in that realm. So your videos, man, your website's really cool, by the way. I really love it. You've got you've got a lot of videos on there, and you do a little bit of educating. And you just mentioned in Vancouver you were helping children paint, and obviously the silo work had a little bit to do with the kids in the community. Do you enjoy sort of imparting knowledge? Even though you're a young guy, do you enjoy sort of sharing that knowledge with other people and educating and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, wherever I can, man. Like I'm pretty open book with everything, and there's a lot of things that I learned down the track that I wish I would have learned a long time ago. So if I can ever sort of push that on to anybody who wants to know about it, then that's great. I think when it comes to my videos, maybe moving more over into like the education side of things, it's just sort of a natural progression. Coming from skateboarding, we always have cameras, we always have phones, or whatever. We're always filming. So I came from being a little skater shit to being a little graffiti shit and having those two worlds combined, like. I always feel like I got to get a flick, or I got to get this on film, or I got to like film this type of stuff. So sometimes, like I'll pop out whatever, a certain cap, and I'll realize like, oh shit, I'm actually holding this in a way that some people might, like if I told myself when I was 15, hold it this way and do this to it, and you can do this, I would have been way further with this stuff earlier. So yeah, wherever I can, man. I mean, I like to help out. I like to make videos. It all goes hand in hand. It's all natural. Nothing feels forced. So yeah. No, I think that's fun too. Definitely a fun side.
I've got a little bit of experience just with audio and video and things like that. But what type of stuff are you using to put your videos together? Because they're really well made.
Oh, cheers. Fuck, man. Well, if you knew what I'm using, it'd be a surprise that it's well made. That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, I use iMovie. That's the first thing that popped up on my MacBook when I had one. And I was like, okay, sweet. Let's go to the races. And for one time on like my birthday or whatever, I got a GoPro. And so everything I shoot's all on GoPro and GoPro and iMovie, and just man, making the best that I can out of the shitty transitions and everything from those programs and stuff. And And yeah, like just recently on this podcast here, I'm using a microphone, which I mean, I made that investment, which is pretty cool. So I've been able to do like voiceovers and make it sound a little bit more crisp.
Yeah,
Recently.
you have.
So
They've been pretty good.
so yeah, been adding a few things here and there, but completely grassroots, man. GoPro that's worth nothing. iMovie that's free software, and just upload it. Yeah.
And what about your music?
Music. So I try to use copyright free music. So that becomes like the biggest problem is just searching on YouTube on different artists that just require chucking their details in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can use it to not get copyright infringements and such. So that's where I've been getting most of my music just from YouTube, man. Really good artists. There's some killers out there.
Well, that's good, man. No, they're really nice, and your website's really good as well. It's it's got a lot of stuff on there. For anyone wanting to have a look at the website, it's LUKASKASPER, lukaskasper.com. Definitely go check that out. Listen, Lucas, I don't want to keep you for too much longer, man. You probably got some painting to get to.
Yeah, man.
But what, pandemic aside, what have you got coming up for yourself for the remainder of the year or for next year? Have you got any big projects lined up? Have you got anything you're thinking about?
Yeah, well, yeah. So at the moment, I'm just finishing off a series of 3 commissioned skateboards. So I paint skateboards, I carve them out. Skating, led me into that. General backstory. But so yeah, I got 3 commissions with that. I've just finished my second, so one more, and then I want to release like a calendar with the 12 murals, or well, 10 murals with 2 extras in from the Wodonga murals. So I'm putting that together and design, having fun with that. And after this, I've been chatting to one of the fellas that I actually linked up with when I painted the water tower, and he's got a big commission wall. It's huge, man. It's like 90 meters long by like 2.3 meters high, all unprimed, like Besser block. Yeah, so that's a huge project. The deadline for that is like 5 days away to have the design, the budget, and everything all put together. So, and I haven't even started it because I got that call yesterday. So yeah, as soon as I finish this, I'll jump straight onto that. Finish the calendar up. And
whereabouts is that?
That's just out of Dubbo.
Okay.
Yeah, like this little town right next to it. So yeah, it's gonna be wild, man. But other than that, paint walls, take it day by day. I have a to-do list. I think that's the big thing that's kept me motivated and makes me always strive for bigger things. Is whenever I have an idea, I write it down and I'll sticky like blue tack it right in front of me wherever I'm working. So I never have an excuse, and I always have something to do.
Yeah. So just touching on that, you mentioned before that some of your work is sort of focused around mental health, and you've obviously you obviously think about that quite a bit. Do you put things into your everyday life to take care of your mental health, and does it have a positive effect on your creativity?
Yeah, well, I mean, the process itself, like painting is meditation for me. There's no more comfortable I'll ever feel than painting, because it combines so many things. It's not only are you taking a moment to be in your head and to think about where you are in that time, which is, I mean, sort of captivates the whole idea of mindfulness, which is sort of the center point of a lot of mental health and improving upon yourself. But it also involves like hyper focus and also self progression. So
totally,
yeah, you're there. You're there. You're in the moment. You're not anywhere else. You're just focusing on something, and you get to look at something fucking awesome once you're done with it. So the painting for me has been the best thing. Other than that, occasionally I'll go down the lines of seeking help or taking different avenues. But art has been everything for me. And it always will. I'll do this until the day that I die. I guarantee that. So
wow.
Yeah, I just love it, man. It's the best thing in the world.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, is there any inherent difficulties in it's, I mean, it sounds like, as you just said, you'll paint till the day that you die, and it's a decision that you've made, and maybe it wasn't even a decision that you had a choice in, if you know what I'm saying. But
yeah,
how difficult is it for young artists in Australia to make a living out of their art? From my perspective, it seems like it would be very difficult. Has it been challenging to get to this point so far?
Yeah, incredibly, man. And so many points throughout the process, I felt like it is an impossible thing and it will never happen.
Mm.
I guess, yeah, it is hard, man. It is so hard, harder than anything else. Like I grew up working. I grew up working in every job there is. I did concreting, fencing, dog grooming, pet sitting, delivery, Domino's boy. I've worked at IGAs. I've done most type of occupations, whether it comes to working with a shovel or wearing a white button-up T-shirt or whatever it is, you know. And all of those jobs, man, they face their own problems and own challenges and stuff. But to dedicate yourself to being an artist and to make something out of nothing, it is incredibly challenging, especially in today's climate, because with the internet and the progression of so many different avenues, there's a countless amount of amazing artists out there, and you come to realize that when you jump on a plane and you go to Bali and you meet like 40 dudes that are killing it like way harder than you, and you go, holy shit, man, like that's the bar here. Wow. Like, and I don't even know who you are, you know? And then you go to the next place and so on and so forth. But it's hard, man. But I mean, at the same time, with the internet and with the progression of artists and the world that it is in today, in saying that, you also have all of those tools at your disposal too. So, that's why I make videos, and that's why I try to make my website look all fancy, and that's why I try to do everything that I can, because my goal in life is to feel happy and to live a fulfilling life. And for me, that just means painting every day, not having to worry and stress about this and that, and take it week by week, like really be smart with it and to make something with this. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard, man. It's been a crazy roller coaster for me over like the past 12 years, ever since I picked up a spray can.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time, man, a long time coming that all of this shit sort of fell into place and started working on a consistent basis. But I'm here now, and I'm fucking stoked, man. This is awesome. Yeah. Life is awesome right now. It's really good.
That's really good to hear, man.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear. And I think that's why, not to continually go back to John Murray, but I think that's why guys like him are so inspiring, because he went through that journey as well, and to see someone that's done it successfully just gives you that little boost that you might need on days where you're feeling a bit shitty or this isn't going to work out and whatnot. So just on that as well, what kind of advice would you give someone that might be in your position, say 5-10 years ago, that is trying to just get started, early on? Do you have any? I mean, I know you're a young guy, but you've obviously had tons of experience. What would you say to a younger Lukas or to another artist sort of getting started? What are some of the pitfalls to look out for?
Do something every day. Make sure you do something every day, because even if you like sketch in a book, you'll have 365 sketches by the end of the year, and that'll help you so much. Pick up things, experiment, have fun. Don't be, I mean, one big thing, especially with like younger people in today's day and age, is, the pressures of social media and having to present yourself in a particular way to be cool or to be like somebody else. Fuck what other people think. Don't be somebody else. Be yourself. And that's what everybody will love about you. Not the things that make you look like somebody else, but the things that make you look like you. And sometimes maybe things might not work out. You might be 50 years old and realize, and you haven't made it as a full-time artist or whatever you wanted to do, but you will look back on your life and think, fuck, man, that was a roller coaster, and I loved every second of it. A few things to maybe help with that process, at least for me, I found the absolute like grassroots of all of my progression has been writing lists, always to-do lists. Like, even if I have some random crazy idea, like there's this skate YouTube platform called Braille. Do you know Braille?
No, I feel like I've come across it in the past couple of days, maybe, but yeah, no, I can't think.
Yeah, you would have seen a video pop up or something. They're huge. There's this crazy big skate warehouse place, and they're like, if you ask any 15-year-old skateboarder or younger kids or something these days, they'll know Braille and love it like it's a religion. They're really cool dudes. But like, for example, one day I wrote down on a piece of paper, send a skateboard to Braille. And I thought, And I thought, I'm never going to get featured on this thing. This platform has however many million viewers. They're a well-oiled machine. They're insanely huge, way bigger than me. And then one day I was sitting there in my studio and I had nothing to do. And I was, feeling a bit down on myself. Like, God, what am I going to do next? I looked at my list that was in front of me, blue tack right in front of me. And I went, oh shit. I mean, I guess I could send them an email. I sent them an email. Next thing I know, Aaron, all these crazy fucking awesome skaters are skating my board in the Braille Warehouse in America. The video gets whatever, however many hundreds of thousands of views. Everybody's coming over to my channel. I woke up one morning and looked at my phone and I was like, what the fuck happened? Because it was a few months or whatever until I actually got featured. And from that, man, the amount of interest I've had over in the USA, I've been shipping boards out like crazy. Like I'm about to send one to Philadelphia after this too. It's another thing. I gotta pack that one up. But yeah, like the to-do list has been the biggest thing for me with that. So write it out and put it in front of your face, and you don't have to attack it every day, and you don't have to like pound yourself into the ground. But if you have it in writing, you'll probably come to see that it comes to fruition much better than it just being a thought that fades away.
I'm a big advocate of writing lists, man. I write lists every day, so I can totally understand.
Yeah.
Just even the act of writing something down makes you think about it more than just, as you said, just floating around in your head.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that whole mantra of like let's say whatever, painting a mural. Like if I say to myself, I want to paint a mural tomorrow, I might not do it. But if I say to myself, I'm going to paint a mural tomorrow, then I'm going to do it. There is like, I've already made my mind up. So it's just, I think that to-do list is sort of like the physical representation of that. It forces you to do it. It doesn't just allow you to think about it and let it be a fleeting thought.
Totally, man. No, that's really good advice. Really good. All right, man. Well, look, it's been really good to chat to you, bro. I really love your work. Your art really appeals to me because I love bright, I love sort of psychedelic and, your monsters, but then your sort of added flair with your realism work really adds a nice touch to it too. So I really appreciate your art, man. And I want you to keep it up, and your inspiring story to hear that you're dedicating yourself and you've got discipline towards your art, which is really good to hear. So I can't thank you enough for your time, man.
No, thanks so much, dude. And thanks for having me. Yeah, if anyone, keep painting, keep making art. I'm sure if you listen to this, you might have like a creative flair or whatever, if you made it all the way to the end of my ramblings and stuff. So yeah, thanks for having me, man. Keep painting, keep having fun.
For sure, man. And where can people find you online? I know I did mention it before, but where can they get you?
Yeah, so you can find me on most platforms at Kasper's Art. So spelled with a K, Kaspers Art, Kasper's Art. You'll find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I got a website, as you mentioned, lukaskasper.com, but most people follow you on socials and stuff. Even on TikTok and doing that dumb shit recently. That's been fun.
How's that been?
Oh man, dude, to be honest, man, it's really weird. Like I started that TikTok thing and I was like, this is going to be the platform where I'm just going to post the most dumb shit, and none of it will make sense. And none of it's like, oh, this is for my art and everything. Like I made stupid trolling videos and stuff of drawing and doing like writing, like going down to the tunnels and tagging like TikTok hates me or something like that. And then put a stupid song on it. I just wanted to have fun with the platform and just be a bit of a little shit. And then I posted one video once and it got like, it's at like whatever, like 2 million views or something now. And then my following or whatever went up to like around 10,000 or something, which is more than I have on any other platform. And it's good, but it's bad, man. Cause like, I don't want to present myself. Like, I don't want people thinking that I am this guy that posts all this fucking dumb shit. But so on one hand, it's cool because more people see my stuff. But on the other hand, it sort of took my my freedoms away of just playing around and being an idiot.
Yeah, like you lose that anonymity, don't you?
Yeah.
When you got 10,000 eyeballs on you, or 20,000 eyeballs on you.
Yeah, I don't look like an idiot in front of 10,000. Maybe in front of like 100, it's all sweet. But
yeah. You have to come up with a secret name or something.
Yeah, you have to make another account or something.
Yeah. Well, again, man, thank you so much for your time. I think a lot of people are going to find a lot of value out of the things that you spoke about today, and I certainly did, so I can't thank you enough, bro.
Sure. Cheers, man. Thanks, heaps.
All right, everyone, go to Lukas Kasper's website, lukaskasper.com. Buy a skateboard, buy some of his art, hang it up in your wall. It's beautiful stuff. And we'll check with you next time. We'll check with you next time. We'll check with you next time. We'll check with you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Lead Poison Podcast.
Think you are? Huh? Huh?
Talking to me?